G'day geeks, my name is Chris, and in this video it's all about another trip to Collector Zone up north and a bit of a hangout with Ryan the Collector Kid, fellow YouTuber with an impressive toy collection. So I got to go up there and spend half a day with him, which is awesome, and also got to visit one of my favourite places to scour through back issue bins for comics, which is Collector Zone. So I picked up a few things, mainly comics and one cool toy. So this is some of the selection that I got from my time with Ryan and my time at Collector Zone. Pretty impressive stuff here actually, so let's have a look at it all. So as I said, I visited Ryan the Collector Kid in his lovely home, and he gave me a tour of his awesome toy shed, which gave me some inspiration for my humble toy room. So he's got a very impressive collection of a whole bunch of different stuff. My photos and videos don't do it justice. He's probably worth a tour one day, a video tour of his awesome stuff that he's got on display that he's been collecting for many years. He's primarily a Doctor Who fan as well, which I'm not necessarily, so that's kind of the focus of his collection. But he's got a lot of, like pinballs and Ninja Turtles and He-Man. We have a lot of crossovers. And he was kind enough to give me a couple of comics as well while I was there. So I gave him a Doctor Who magazine that I saw in my travels, the news agent, and he gave me a couple of comics, which is very lovely. So here we have the Professor X and the X-Men #1. So this is from the 90s, and I believe, if memory serves me correctly, this is basically a retelling of the 60s X-Men series with modern art and that kind of thing. So it's basically just a retelling of their first encounter with Magneto. So I think I've only got one other issue of this series. I can't recall how long it lasted, but you can see only 99 cents for the first issue. Back in the day, comics certainly cost a lot more these days. So that's the first one, Professor Xavier and the X-Men, and the other one I managed to get from him was Marvel Comics Presents. So I do have a few of these, and these are flip books. So we see Vengeance, Ghost Rider Baddie on one side and Wolverine on the other side, and Marvel Comics Presents, this is issue 153, but they're basically an anthology, so they have a few different short stories of different Marvel characters. And I didn't realise until I got home that this one actually has some of the Marvel Master Print or Marvel Masterpiece cards inside. And this is the Spider-Man one. I've got a few of these cards, but this one focuses on Venom, I think. So yes, back in the day, sometimes you would get little inserts like this. And then we flip it over, and there's some other stories inside. So yeah, different artists and writers, sometimes up and coming. And so that's pretty cool. So thank you very much, Ryan, for those extra couple of comics to add to my collection. And sticking with gift themes, I got this from a friend as well, my mate Dave. So this is pretty awesome. So he knows I like Dungeons & Dragons. This is a little Beholder minifigure with a glowing eye, which is pretty cool. So Beholder's a classic D&D villain. As you can see that he's got a lovely glowing eye, so this will go well on the D&D shelf. Come with a nice little box and a little humorous little caring for your Beholder kind of instruction guide. So there's, it's pretty cool. I've got another one like this, which is like a dice dungeon kind of little novelty gift, so probably scales well as well with the actual D&D minis. But so there we go, 3 different presents from some lovely friends of mine. On my way to visit Ryan the Collector Kid, I stopped by Collector Zone, which is in Clarkson. It's a bit of a journey for me, coming from Perth in the city where I live, but relatively quick anyway on the train. So Collector Zone is awesome. I've been there probably a handful of times now. The last time I was there was actually with Ryan the Collector Kid. So they've got a whole bunch of comics, probably the most impressive array of back issues in the state of WA, I would say, state of Western Australia, where I'm from. And they have a whole bunch of mainly modern action figures, not really vintage stuff. I saw this, so this has just been released from Hasbro. This is part of their line of the old Spider-Man 90s animated series kind of style approach to figures. Kane is a wrapped up in the Clone Saga. So is he a goodie? Is he a baddie? Why not both? So yeah, this is a very 90s character with his luscious brown hair and his kind of purpley, pinky, tattered robe, a couple of extra hands, and all the kind of, he's got a disfigured body because he's an imperfect clone, as it says there right on the package. So he's a very much a 90s Spider-Man character, and that was when I was really into Spider-Man with the Clone Saga and all that. These are the other figures from the wave. So we got the Spider-Man Unlimited from the very short-lived animated series, Agent Venom, Flash Thompson, which is pretty awesome. Spider-Boy, a new character in the Marvel comics. The female version of Francine Fry of Electro, Marvel's Kane, which I have, and Marvel's Chameleon, which is also tied up in the Clone Saga. Bit of a bio in English and a few other languages there, and yes, you can take his hands off. So yeah, I just love this very retro packaging, lovely thick card. I'll probably keep him in the card because I've got another couple of Spider-Man figures in this line and they look good displayed together. So that was the one and only figure I got from Collector Zone. So that's Kane from the Spider-Man 90s comics. The first box I noticed in the impressive back issue collection at Collector Zone was this box of Marvel Age. So Marvel Age was a monthly magazine really that would it ran from 1983 to 1994. The first volume, it was basically a promotional way to promote the comics and what was coming up, interviews with creators, events that were happening, fun activities, that kind of thing. So I've got quite a few of these because they are certainly a time capsule of the 80s and 90s. So this one you can clearly see is focused on the wedding between Peter Parker and Mary Jane with an amazing cover by, it looks like Bill Sienkiewicz, but I don't think it is, judging by the signature there, but that's pretty awesome. So yeah, it's got letters, columns, and upcoming, and a bit of snippets of funny things, and this is pretty interesting. So this is the Mary Jane Watson paper dolls. You can photocopy it and cut it out and give it different outfits and stuff. Trivia, some Fred Hembeck cartoons there, and the two variant covers of the Spider-Man annual, which he actually got married. So yeah, and things that were coming soon. So that's issue 55, 56. I got this because it's got a few of my favourite G.I. Joe characters on it. So this was when Marvel was producing the G.I. Joe comics from 1987. You can see there. And again, it's very similar kind of format, bit of light reading, upcoming books. Yeah, so it's basically just before the internet, this is kind of how we knew what was upcoming. That's one of my favourite G.I. Joe characters, Crocmaster, and I love Crystal Ball, and that version of Cobra Commander as well. I had all those figures as a kid. So yes, that's Marvel Age 56, and finally Marvel Age 99, all about the Black Panther with a pretty cool cover. And again, 1991 calendar. So yes, basically just promoting, as I said, all the stuff and a bit of look at the history of Marvel. And there we go. I mean, it's very well made. There's all the lyrics from some of the Marvel animated series back in the day, which is pretty funny. And I don't know what's going on there, a convention of some kind, I would say. So yes, pretty cool indeed. And that's when Marvel, I guess, was producing Terminator comics. So there we go. So 3 issues of Marvel Age were the first thing I picked up from Collector Zone. This is another Marvel issue. It doesn't look like Marvel, but it is. This is their Epic Illustrated, which is, I guess, it's a more adult-focused magazine, kind of their answer to heavy metal, I guess, at the time. And they had quite a few of these, and I do have some of these. They're basically just a bit more adult-oriented comics and short story anthologies. And this wonderful Boris Vallejo cover from 1982. He did a lot of the Marvel Masterpiece kind of trading card artwork, so that's just awesome. So yeah, look at that, very fantasy kind of. So it was a bit actually hard to choose which one I wanted to get a hold of. I want to flag for some Canadian liquor on the back there. yeah, so it's basically just, as I said, it's kind of like heavy metal magazine. It's a bit more adult, so I don't know how many of these pages I can actually show, but a bit of a preview of Dreadstar from the Epic Comics line, and a lot of these stories kind of carry on across the different issues. And yeah, it's got a bit of an artwork from all different artists, black and white, colour, painted stuff. There's an interview with Dennis O'Neill there, which is pretty cool, or an article rather. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Different fantasy, sci-fi stories, I guess. Oh, an ad for the Dark Crystal. Awesome. So yes, that lovely cover really invited me in. So there's Epic Illustrated number something or other from December 1982. Here we go on to DC. So 80s, 90s, early 2000s, DC and Marvel are really the focus of my collection. So whenever I see gaps in my collection at Collector Zone or other places, I certainly pick these up. So this is Robin Annual number 6 from 1997. So that's the Tim Drake version of Robin. As you can see, it's written by one of my favourite writers, Chuck Dixon, and it's basically their kind of Wild Westy pulp hero themed. So in the 90s, DC would have themed annuals, and this was their pulp heroes theme. So I was basically just reading, and there's an ad for Batman and Robin, Frosty Treats or something. Wonderful artwork there. So what if characters existed in, far-flung fantasy or Wild West like here? So basically reimagining characters in a Wild West setting. This is Showcase 93, so Showcase from 1993, starring Robin, Green Lantern, the Creeper and Nightwing. So some of my favourite characters all on the cover there. And this is an anthology series that ran for 12 issues in 1993. So I've got about half of these issues, and they're all anthology issues with different short stories contained within the pages. And yeah, so I think they did Showcase 94, 95 as well. So yeah, it didn't run for too many years, but a pretty cool way to get some short stories of some favourite DC characters. And sticking with DC, of course, he is the Ray number 5 from September 1994. So the Ray's another one of those obscure DC characters that DC Comics don't really do much with these days. But this is the newer version of Ray with his cool jacket, and it looks like in this issue he meets the original Ray, who basically has kind of sunlight solar based powers. So he's a young teen carrying on the mantle of the first Golden Age Ray. So there's 3 DC issues. There was a time when Superman 75, the infamous death of Superman in the mid-90s, was flying off the shelves, and people thought they could retire and they just buy multiple copies because there's no way they're going to kill Superman. This is the end. He'll never come back. I'm going to buy multiple copies and sell them for millions of dollars 20 years from now. That never happened. But that's one of the things that certainly got me into comics, because it's received so much, or back into comics because it received so much media attention. So $5, Superman 75. As you can see, the poly bag, which originally came in back there with the black bag and the bleeding S symbol, is open, but it does have all the pieces in it. And I've already got a copy of this, and probably more than one copy actually. But this is the version of Superman 75, which came in this fancy black bag with a whole bunch of stuff inside of it, including all that. So we get a little trading card, looks like a tombstone, basically promoting the Death of Superman trading cards. We get a newspaper excerpt of sorts about the Death of Superman from the Daily Planet. I mean, yeah, it's pretty interesting that they really went all out. This kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore, this kind of promotional stuff. A huge poster, the funeral of Superman, and again the kind of tombstone cover of the Death of Superman, with the actual issue where he actually dies, with this famous fold out issue where Superman actually dies. And then DC Comics really stuck with it for almost a year. I think there's about 9 months where and you get a black armband as well, like you can really mourn. DC Comics really stuck with it after killing Superman. So I think the Superman titles continued without Superman for about 9 months, so his supporting cast really came to the front, and obviously Superman did come back. But yes, a monumental issue from January 1983, Superman 75, with all the goodies that it comes with, but still such an important piece of DC and comics history. And there's also little stamp kind of things, sticker things as well that it comes with. So yes, if you do want to own a piece of comics history, Superman 75, The Death of Superman, easy and cheap to afford. The last 2 comics are also DC. So on the left we have the Green Lantern and Green Arrow by from 1972, I think. This is from Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams. This is when Green Lantern and Green Arrow teamed up. And obviously I do like Christian comics, but this isn't Jesus. Obviously you can see the illusion is there, but it's a bunch of hippies and this guy is trying to save them, and so it's a bit of a famous cover as well, and I've never seen this cover before. It's relatively affordable, so that's why I grabbed it. But this is when Green Lantern, Green Arrow, the series really, for the first time in comics at that time, really took on more social issues and relevant issues that were abounding at the time. So not so much all the space kind of battling a supervillain of the month or whatever. This is more kind of real world issues and tackled drugs and racism and, you know, police brutality and all this kind of stuff. So yes, that's Green Lantern, Green Arrow, number 89 from 1972, by Dennis O'Neil, with wonderful art by Neil Adams. On the right, it's not a fabulous cover, and it's got Terror Men, which are kind of obscure DC villains, but I got this one because you can see at the top, extra free 16-page comic preview, Masters of the Universe. So this is counts as the first appearance of Masters of the Universe, He-Man and Masters of the Universe, before the actual comic began. DC Comics were the first people to publish Motu, Masters of the Universe. So yeah, this is from 1982, late 1982, and through a handful of their titles at that time, and there's a Dungeons & Dragons ad as well, by the way, through some late 1982 monthly issues, they did have this little insert where they promoted, and here we go, and Superman teaming up with He-Man to battle Skeletor. Yeah, the Masters of the Universe preview, and so 16 full color pages, smack bang in the middle of your Superman comic. So that's a nice little surprise, and obviously I think it ends in the last page. It just says continue next month in DC Comics. So it's basically just a way to promote the Masters of the Universe series. So that's pretty cool. So I've got another couple of these as well in different titles where the same preview appeared. So it's a bit of, again, Superman tied to an important part of pop culture history. So there's 2 more DC Comics to add to my list, and I'm very impressed with all the stuff that I manage to find every time I go to Collector Zone. Very happy with my little haul. Always find something of interest when I go to Collector Zone. Pretty impressive stack of stuff here. Some Marvel Age, Death of Superman, some Masters of the Universe preview comics, the Marvel magazine, Epic Illustrated, and a couple of freebies from the lovely Ryan the Collector Kid. So yeah, check out Collector Zone. They will be at the new at the next Nexus Toy Fair on the Saturday the 12th of April. So if you're in the Perth area and you do like video games and Lego, Star Wars, Harry Potter novels, comics, vintage and modern action figures, please drop on by to Nexus Toy Fair on Saturday, April 12th, and I might see you there myself. So yes, wonderful stuff here, and very glad to add all these comics to my collection. Thank you for watching. If you like any of this stuff, just hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment or 2, and I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye, geeks.